about mages or Navarans or men. I have known some who were impossible to endure and some who were utterly charming. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles or tradesmen in Val Royal. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay.
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all. The same is true of people everywhere, in all circumstances, whether they are mages or not.
So, tell me about your personal experience with the circle.
I enjoyed life in the Montsimard Circle, my dear. It was an edifice devoted to knowledge and refinement. And mages need the company of other mages. No one else can truly understand the challenges we face, nor see the world as we do.
You must have been under constant supervision being forced by Templars to live in the tower. Was that hard to endure?
My dear, I have a suite in the palace and a wing at my dear Duke Bastien's estate. I've never been forced to live anywhere. Most circles allowed mages to live away from the tower, either on their own or in service to the nobility. All that was required was permission from the first enchanter. Some circles were harsher in their restrictions. Kirkwall was the worst, but it was the exception. Most were quite permissive. Perhaps too permissive, in retrospect.
How did we come to this state where the circle's in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of Templars and mages. They could not even imagine what was beyond the tower walls. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin.
Damn.
But
Thought my
Fiona
controller
chose
was
to let the
falling
motion
off.
stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels. Yes?
Do you think that you and I might someday...
How very sweet of you to ask, but no. Yes?
I'd like to know more about...
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly?
I am from the
Oops.
Circle, my dear.
That I
One's
didn't want to
country
skip.
of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free Marches. I was sent to the
Like
Ostwick
Blackwall.
Circle, but I transferred to Montsimard while still an apprentice.
I'm curious how a circle mage winds up at court here.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Gislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
You're married to the Duke de Gislaine?
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted this to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, however, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion.
Wait, I still have something.
Yes? Whatever would you like to know?
Okay.
When the position of marriage is the business of alliance
There
and
we go.
inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
And what does the Duchess de Gislaine think of this arrangement?
We got along quite well. Duchess Nicoline and I used to host musical salons together. She was a great patron of the arts. She passed away from a fever a few years ago, the poor dear.
Okay. One last
Yes?
thing, though.
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts at restoring the Circle?
After the circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
Sure, I'll find them.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the Circle would be in your debt.
Awesome. Finally, I finally finished all of that.
Thank you for all
Was it
that you
Giselle?
are doing to help.
Oh, whatever. I don't even care about her.
Master Lavellen, do you have a moment?
Hello? Can I help you with something?
Nope.
I'll speak with you later. Did you need something, Ambassador?
Yes. Well, not precisely, but I should like to know if anyone here has treated you unkindly, Herald, for being an elf.
I can deal with a few whispers and sideways looks.
I shall speak with the staff regarding such conduct. If we're to convince the world that Andraste's Herald is an elf, the Inquisition must give you its utmost support. Stories of wild Dalish elves have grown even more outrageous as people learn of you.
How have the rumors gotten worse?
I would prefer not to repeat them.
Give me something.
Stealing children, selling peasants to slavers, burning down villages, using infants for blood magic.
Damn, that's hardcore.
Those are the stories about your fellow Dalish. I won't repeat what they've said about you.
The humans telling those tales are the first to take a knife to someone with pointed ears. My clan's defended ourselves against them more times than I can count.
Really? I had no idea. I will do what I can to end this slander, Herald.
You do well,
It
Josephine.
may help if I know more about how you and your clan lived.
The human towns we traded with ate the same food and suffered the same weather we did. The main difference was that they had homes while we wandered.
That must have been difficult. Still, you must miss your clan.
Oh, I'm gonna choose that one.
If I'd never left home, Josephine, I never would have met you. That would be the greater tragedy.
What? Really? There is more to this, Master Lavellen. Whatever comes, your role as Andraste's Herald will mark your clan in history.
If I went back now, they'd already be envious. By the end of this, I'll hold more power than all my clan's keepers put together.
I'd advise you not to tell your clan that, Herald. No one enjoys a poor winner. Greetings.
Anything to
What do the
report?
people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Indeed.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
None in particular. Our guests are well pleased with what they've seen.
Okay, one
What
last
may I
thing
do for
then.
you? Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Any thoughts on the
Cool.
people here?
Who did you mean?
Okay, let's talk
What do you think of
about
Sir
every
Blackwall?
warrior.
Sir Blackwall seems as loyal to the purpose of the Inquisition as he is to the Wardens. His travels must have taken him strange places. I wish he'd speak more about them.
The Iron Bull has had to have made an impression.
He is a loud, unapologetic accident merely waiting to happen. I do
Come on.
wish he'd stop daring poor dignitaries to outdrink him.
Commander Cullen came to mind.
The commander is an intelligent, cautious man. I'm grateful he's in charge of our standing army. Still, he does sometimes resemble the man with a hammer to whom everything appears as a nail.
I was thinking of Cassandra.
Seeker Pentagast is a princess of the Kingdom of Nevarra, although that barely seems important to her. She was not interested when I asked if we might make use of her royal relations. Still, the Inquisition would not have formed without Cassandra. She's an extraordinarily driven woman.
Oops.
Still, the Inquisition would not have formed without Cassandra. She's an
Let's talk about Vivienne.
extraordinarily driven woman.
What do you think of Vivienne?
We've met a few times before at court. She remains a truly accomplished player of the game. So long as her interests align with yours, Madame Vivienne will be a most valuable ally.
What's your impression of Solus?
I suppose I should be wary of an apostate, but our elven mage has conducted himself with the utmost propriety. And he has the most fascinating stories.
I was thinking of Varric.
Oh, I could listen to his tales for hours. He actually let me read a chapter of his next book he's writing. My friends would be sick with envy if they knew. It's
Really? Is
excellent,
that
but
he is that
a bit
good?
different from his past works. Only 3 beheadings so far.
I'd love to know how you and Sarah get along.
I know she extracts gossip from the servants, and she keeps prying into things. Sarah's ability to vanish whenever her mischief's discovered must come in handy, however, I'm sure.
Sure.
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
Farewell. Let's go to the War Council. Capacity is cool, but
Has
I
nothing
really
to do
want
with
this.
fairness.
More
We simply
XP
can't accommodate them if
and
they
more
bring that many
history
servants.
knowledge.
I will speak to the Duchess. She can be
There's
reasoned with
many
after
things
a
over
fashion.
here. Holy shit. Okay, let's finish all this before first. So, what's this? Choosing the mage will make it impossible to work with the Templars. Okay. So this is probably the Templars, right? Yeah. That's exactly the path I want to go because I already saw a bit of the mages. It was cool. I know exactly what happens with the mages because most of the time that I was watching my brother play, he was playing the mages campaign or whatever.
At your service.
Let's put some of this to work.
All right.
Let's see what we have.
Okay, so let's make a pause around now. So see you soon.